These are the objects of interest. The first, freestanding crematory, now removed. Bath and disinfection building number 2, whose function can be confirmed by a glance through the windows. And bath and disinfection number 1, the rebuilt crematory and its adjacent structure, an undressing room, according to museum literature, though discussed at length in the previous section, will be considered briefly again.
There were 2 men, half-brothers, shared a father but not a mother. The younger one had ideas. The older one listened. All he wanted was drinking money. He was 2 years older and named for his father, who was half his size. The younger brother was also small in stature. He couldn't read, but he had ideas. His name was invented just for him. He spent time in the mirror.
"This a robbery. Let's not make it murder,"
he told his bloodshot reflection. His other self looked nonplussed. It held something small and snub-nosed.
"There's 2 kind of people,"
it said, and the gun jumped at the glass. The mirror cracked. The little brother took this for a good sign. They waited out in the cold till the Arab was alone with the tabloid. He sat smoking, drinking out of a styrofoam cup, reading with one eye. They crossed the street. There was a plan of sorts, and the older one was to stay outside in the capacity of lookout.
"But next time,"
he said. "We'll see how you do," his half-brother said, like some cautious employer observing a probationary period. There was a wreath on the door, a lone concession to the season. It jingled, coming and going. The Arab looked up from behind the counter, one eye colorless and always half-closed, as if it had seen more than it could bear. A radio played.
"Cold as what out there?"
the little brother said sincerely. "I'm close 5 minutes, the Arab said. The little brother came up the aisle. Its dirty, warped floor, off-brands, smell of freezer burn. The deli case empty, trays covered with white cloth. When he got to the counter, he laid the gun on its side like merchandise. He was going to say, "There's 2 kind of people," as rehearsed, but the Arab tossed the contents of the cup in his face and reached behind the counter. The coffee was by now lukewarm, but the little brother screamed anyway, fired blindly 3 times. When he opened his eyes, the Arab was sitting back down on his stool next to the register, his hand on his chest like he was taking an oath. A wooden club rolled on the floor. The radio was silent. There was no trace of the other bullet. The wreath on the door rang and the big brother came in. He looked cautiously down the aisle and said, "The hell you done did?" as if gunfire had no place here. The little brother was breathing like he'd run a mile. His voice shook, and he looked ready to hand over the gun. It had jumped in his hand, seemed to fire by itself.
"Some bitch tried to be strong on me. I told him we wasn't playing."
The older one got behind the counter. "Drawer ain't even open. You drippin'."
"He made a move,"
the younger one said irritably, and sleeved coffee off his face. He could taste it. The Arab sat with his hand still at his chest. Something dark, not coffee, pulsed out between his fingers. The cigarette was still in his lips. "The drawer," the big brother said. "I need emergency," the Arab said.
"This your goddamn emergency,"
the little brother said, and shoved it in the Arab's face.
"You don't need but one hand."
The Arab showed no interest in the gun. He started to raise his arm, then froze with the sound half stuck in his throat. Good eye shut tight. He dropped his arm and said, "No sale."
"The fuck?"
the little brother said, outraged.